Timothy wants to know why River keeps on changing their payment method from Coinbase, then they throw in a credit, debit throughout the day. Check them out. Uh, the company is, I guess the company is trying to stop people from being tracked, and then they weren't getting enough people buying it. Right now, it's a bad move for what they're doing. If you're going to fight this in court, the things you need to do, and this is just my opinion, uh, if they're the judge isn't going to look favorable, no judge is going to look favorably on them breaking the C&D, the cease and desist. Uh, I have militia certs over on blackswantactical.com, so they're not going to look good on that. Another thing, they're trying to fight it in the Middle District of the Middle District Court of Florida, which is a bad move. It is a very anti-gun judge that was appointed by Obama. What they should do is try to switch it to a different circuit totally. Go ahead. I mean, I'm sure they sold rare big triggers in like the Sixth Circuit. So why not go to the Sixth Circuit and fight it in the Sixth Circuit where you actually have a chance of winning? But the guy's a lawyer, so he knows better than I do. But I mean, but that's what I would do. If that one thing, I would definitely. Oh, thank you, Dirt McGirt. One thing,
yeah, Dirt McGirt is a hell of a dude too, by the way. Good night, BWE. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, one thing I definitely would do if I was the owner is I would get another attorney. He could be the best attorney in the world, but you should never defend yourself, and he's defending himself.
Yeah.
Oh,
bad move. Yeah. In my opinion. So, and I apologize. I stepped away. So, what did we start with so far?
No, somebody was just asking why they switched to Coinbase only, cryptocurrency only. Then they switched back to credit card payments. So, good night, Hoff.
Gotcha.
You are my hero still.
Yes.
BWE Firearms. Go subscribe to BWE Firearms. If I could take half my new subscribers and give them to BWE Firearms, I would.
Well, I think we're going to be able to. Let's keep pushing his videos, and he's up to 843 subscribers after this.
Damn, he doubled. Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. We've seen huge growth in his channel. So make sure you go and subscribe to BWE Firearms. That's Bravo Whiskey Echo Firearms. And if you want to see how someone builds machine guns,
there could be a link in the chat there.
Yeah, he's part of the Black Swan family, even though you probably have no idea what the hell Black Swan is.
Yeah, he'll find out soon enough. Montana, thank you for the sticker, brother.
Montana, I'm about to. Are you from Montana? Because I'm about to just absolutely skewer someone in Montana and just destroy them in a couple days.
I'm not sure if he is. I think that's his actual name.
Okay.
But
anyone from Montana, I'm gonna destroy him in a couple days.
I think
no, Black Swan is not FBI. Black Swan is mine. It's not it's not Black Schlong either. Thirsty.
Who said that? That's rude.
Definitely not Rich and I.
Hey, by the way, man, Dark, you did sell a patch.
I already sold a patch?
Pre-order patch. A single pre-order patch, yes.
How? Oh, I didn't even know they were available yet. I thought it was
they're available on Black Swan Tactical for pre-order.
Don't tell them yet.
You can get the Dark Light Discussions After Dark patch pre-order for the January patch drop.
If you guys take a look at the eagle and see what's in his mouth and claws, you'll see what's on the. It is a big blue chem light that says DLD. But guys, don't go to Black Swan Tactical and do the pre-order yet. I know they may be ready, but I'm not ready. So, it's up to you.
So why aren't you ready?
Well, I'm just. I'm a little nervous. A little nervous that, I may actually like the whole selling patches thing, and it'd be all downhill from there.
Dude, I
I'm just
spend
kidding.
a lot of money on patches every month.
No, I know. I'm totally joking. I thought it was going to be another week, so that's awesome. I saw the rendering or the mold, and I saw the patches actually come out, and those things are fire. I can't believe I ever second guessed your design. So that's dope. You go to Black Swan Tactical and buy the DLD Blue Chem Light patch. If you don't know why it's a Blue Chem Light, then that means you're new to us, and ask why, and we shall tell you. But let's start with this, with the force reset trigger.
One thing first.
Yeah.
Zach and I overruled Dark.
They did.
On the patch design.
They did. Yeah. So when I initially submitted the, if you guys see the blue chem light in the corner there, what I wanted was a 2.5 inch by 3 inch rectangle, all white, with like a raised white border. Then it dips down, and then have a raised chem light and have like a square. They said, no, we're going to do a cutout of the chem light and the 3 glowy parts, glowies. And I was like, I don't like that. Then I actually saw it made and punched out of PVC and sewed. And oh, dude, it
looks fantastic.
It is beautiful.
They are Velcro.
Yeah, and I was actually telling Rich earlier before you hopped on that I'm going to get a plate carrier that's all hook and loop and just put them all over the front of mine and just walk around handing them to people. But I'm sorry, I know the force reset trigger, I know we got to jump in on some of the details. So some of the things that I want to clear up, I'm seeing a lot of creators coming out and they're saying, hey, oh my God, Kick It Big and Boy, you don't know about the blue chem light? You've been around for like a year, dude. That's okay. I promise at the end I will cover that. So a lot of creators are saying, hey, guys, don't worry. The force reset trigger is not a machine gun yet. You can still go out and buy them. I encourage you to go out and buy them. Here's a link. Do this. So explain the process. The letter goes out to the creator.
And so, well, the cease and desist letter, and it is a criminal letter, so it is a criminal letter, which is different from an industry letter. From an opinion letter or criminal letters is just that, a criminal examination letter. If you go to, I did a video on it today, or if you go to MLN, you can actually see the criminal examination letter. I dropped that today. But you can still buy it because right now, you can, whether you should or not, that's up to you, but I'm going to break it down what's going to happen. Basically, the company was hit by a cease and desist letter. They are still selling their triggers from their site, which is in violation of the cease and desist letter, which is going to catch them a bunch of other charges, and it's not going to help them in court. I believe that you should be able to buy them, and I respect the company for doing it, but it's going to actually hurt their case in the long run.
And I do just want to jump in and say that I would speak for all three of us and say that we all believe that this trigger and more should be completely legal. We vehemently disagree with everything that is going on with this. And if you guys disagree, feel free to speak up. But I believe that anyone should be able to own this and more. Machine guns, RPGs, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, right now, I respect what he's doing, but it's probably not going to help his case.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were just hit by cease and desist. The next step was what the ATF is going to do is they're going to say, hey, you got to give us the list of people who bought them and the companies that you sold them to, and also come up with a plan to get them back. He's not going to do any of that, so they're going to go to the next step, which is serve cease and desist letters at all the places that probably sold them, and they know where these triggers went. They know everywhere. They already subpoenaed are probably already subpoenaed, like the records from stamps.com or whoever they're using, and their authorized.net, whoever they're using. And so what the next step is, they'll put out a general letter to the public after they cease and desist, or cease and desist to all the companies like Big Daddy Guns and everything to say, hey, you can't sell these anymore. They're going to pull all those off the shelf. They're going to basically go in there, and since the guy's violating the cease and desist, all that means is the ATF is going to show up and take all of them. They're going to take his whole supply. They're going to take all the supplies from Big Daddy Guns and everything else like that. And then they're going to start either showing up at people's doors and saying, hey, we know you have these triggers, or they're going to print letters in certain papers, which they probably would do both, and release a general notice to the public saying that the wherever he triggers is a machine gun. And from that point on, if you don't acknowledge it, then you're in possession of a machine gun. And then you can be charged. But they're not going to charge you right away. They're not going to charge you until they inform you that you have a machine gun. So they'll probably show up and say, hey, just turn it over, and we'll let it go. Just like they did with bump stocks. Because the people who bought them in good faith. They bought them thinking that they're not a machine gun. So if you do get some on the second. I'm saying, if I was to get one, I would get one on the secondary market in a parking lot, traded for cash.
Mm-hmm. If one were to do that, that'd be a good idea.
And but you use your own judgment. I'm not going to tell you not to buy them. I'm not going to tell you to buy them. You're going to use your own judgment. Anyone who says go ahead and buy them, well, I'm not going to make the decision for people. I'm not going to make the decision for people not to buy them. I'm going to give people all the information and let people make up their own mind.
Yeah,
it's like I think a lot of people have an issue. A lot of people have issues with telling people what to do. Or do as I say, not as I do, type of thing. But right now, I'm saying that. You have to use your own judgment. I'm not going to tell people what to do. People all are, all different situations. One thing that the ATF did say that came out today, which I found interesting, was how many? That's a good question. How many triggers were sold?
I heard over 50,000.
I'm hearing between 10 and 50, but who knows. Right now,
yeah. The first number I heard was 2,000, and then the next day I heard up to 50,000, then over 50. I guess it's almost impossible to track once you look at like demos that were sent out to SOTs to market, like O2s even, and then secondary market. I don't know, but I will say that
they're going to be able to tell that how many are sold.
Yeah.
Some people are saying at least 50,000. Some people are saying 2,000. The numbers I'm hearing is between 10 and 50, and my sources are pretty good, but they're not really sure the exact number. Just know if you buy one, the ATF might show up at your house and then demand that you turn over the trigger. So there are ways to get around them knowing where you are and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Good question. Martin wants to know, does Rare Breed have a patent on the trigger? They do. And this is what I was talking to Rich earlier. The patent says that it's not hammer follow. There's a locking block that prevents it from hammer following, Rich, go ahead and explain what hammer following is, just so everyone knows. So to get you in on the conversation, I'll explain what I explained to you earlier.
Yeah, sure. So like on M16, full auto, AR-15, however you want to call it, M4, what you have is a full auto bolt carrier group where the bottom portion of the cut on the bolt carrier hits an auto sear, which trips the disconnector. And then as the bolt is just finishing going forward and locking, the hammer hits the firing pin in the bolt carrier group. So that's hammer fire or hammer follow. The hammer is following the bolt carrier, and it hits just after it locks up.
Like in a fraction of a second. And the purpose of that is to avoid hammer follow, because if you are using a machine gun that has hammer follow, you could have an out of battery detonation, which makes the gun go boom.
Okay, well, when the ATF tested it, it requires a full auto bolt carrier. When the ATF tested it, the ATF, he described. Okay, he might have described it a little bit wrong, but just remember hammer follow. Hammer followed. I'm not going to get into the whole description of it, but just know that the ATF said when they tested it, the patent says that it was not hammer followed, but when they tested it, it was hammer followed. So there you go.
Okay. Now, don't they typically put in like this agent tested this device at this time on this date and determined that it achieved X, and that's how they come up with these opinion letters? I didn't see that.
That if you look at the criminal investigation, FEO Smith is the guy who tested it. Agent Smith, Officer Smith. Yeah, he's the guy that tested it. All right. What he did is he took one bullet, put it in there, fired once. He repeated it again, fired again, and fired once. He put in 2 bullets, held on the trigger. He claims that the trigger fired both bullets. He put 2 more bullets in there, held down the trigger. He claims that the firearm fired both rounds. Then he put in 5 rounds. And he pulled on the trigger, and he claims that it fired all 5 rounds.
Did he feel his finger moving? Oh well, hey, that's not important.
Yeah. He says, but he says that okay. Too many choices. That locking bar literally means that the hammer can't follow. The agent, I'm saying what the ATF said, not what I said. The agent said that the locking bar was in a position where it did not prevent the hammer from following.
So it could have been a broken unit or a broken sear disconnect, or something could have been modified or damaged in the firearm that they tested with.
Yeah. Okay. And I finally allege a single constant pull is interrupted by a force of resetting the trigger. Okay. The ATF changed the whole single pull to single function of the trigger. This is when the bump stock thing, this is one of the important things when the bump stock thing went through. So it got changed from single pull to single function. And they're saying that it is a single function. So, yeah.
It may have run away, Joe Morris, but I mean, the reality is that he could have just not realized that the trigger was resetting as he did this, because a single function could have been him pulling that resulted in dumping all 5 rounds or whatever.
Yeah, that's what the ATF after the bump stock things. That's what they changed. They changed single pull to single function, and then they claimed that the single function is the act of pulling the trigger. That's a single function.
Okay, and a lot of people have asked, just a quick sidebar question. A lot of people have asked, and guys, this is not any legal advice. This is not any, none of this of what we're saying is legal advice. We're sharing information that we've collected, over the last few days, week, whatever. A lot of people have said that bump stocks are legal. As a matter of fact,
no. Okay. That is categorically not true. I think what's going on with that is that people are getting the Sixth Circuit. Okay, so Super Attorney Rob Olson, who's also a chicken farmer, long story, a friend of mine, he's my attorney actually, who actually argued the bump stock case. So I'm pretty hooked up with this case because, like, my best friend and my attorney is the lawyer who actually argued it. In the Sixth Circuit, a district judge sided with the government. So GOA, which is an organization I work for, appealed to the Sixth Circuit. It was assigned to a panel of judges, one appointed by Trump, one appointed by George H.W. Bush, and one appointed by George W. Bush. The panel judges ruled 2-1 that a bump stock is not a machine gun, but they immediately stayed their decision. Even if it was going to go into effect, it would only affect Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and Michigan. But since they put a stay on it, it didn't affect any of that stuff. That's to give the government time to appeal and ask for an en banc hearing. En banc hearing means the full bench, which means instead of just the 3-judge panel, it's the whole Sixth Circuit hears it. The Sixth Circuit granted the government an en banc hearing. So that means the whole bench is going to hear it. So basically what that means, it vacates the panel decision. So it's basically a do-over, means whatever the panel said has no effect going forward. We do know that we at least have 2 judges that are on our side, but anything can happen in court. I know we still feel confident at GOA that we're going to win in the Sixth Circuit, and if we win in the Sixth Circuit, then it will cause what's called it's going to be a split between the 10th Circuit and the Sixth Circuit, which basically forces the Supreme Court to hear it. And that's a good thing for us if it gets to that point, and this is one thing that Rob Olson, is very, very smart. He never argued the bump stock as a Second Amendment case because he knows the Supreme Court hates Second Amendment cases. But what they want to get their hands on is a court case challenging chevron deference. So he argued the chevron deference in a circuit that he knows that we have a good chance of winning in, to cause the circuit split, which will cause the Supreme Court to take it, which will cause the Supreme Court to rule on chevron deference, which they have been dying to do for years. And I would say a good 6 of the judges want to knock down chevron deference so bad that we have an incredible chance of winning at the Supreme Court, a better chance than if we were attacking this from a Second Amendment stance. So it's a smart play.
Interesting. Do you want to explain chevron deference?
Yeah, there was a court case way back in the day, Supreme Court case, that involved Chevron Oil Company. And basically, I'm not going to go to the whole case because it involves environmental groups, EPA, Chevron, and a bunch of other things. But the end result said if a ruling is ambiguous, like a regulation is ambiguous, that the courts cannot rule on if the ruling is ambiguous, that the agency has a very wide latitude in interpreting the rule, and the courts cannot dispute the agency's interpretation of the rules. What they're saying, what Olson is arguing, is chevron deference was never meant to apply to a criminal statute, and they have applied it to a criminal statute in this case. So, it's only for statutory implications, like like pollution levels. Basically, the original ruling had to do with smokestacks and are you, a refinery, is that if each part like different or if it all under one or whatnot, but whatever.
Interesting. I just figured that somebody would ask, so I figured. Um,
Yeah, basically, it just gives too much power to the agencies, and the courts cannot actually overrule the agencies in this case. So the Supreme Court, a lot of the Supreme Court people, the justices, want to kind of roll back Chevron deference because Chevron deference have been used a lot.
yeah. Lunatic, definitely stick around. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate your feedback. Rex
Yeah.
has a comment here as well. John Crump Live. Of course, this is not legal advice, but couldn't the ATF come to your house, like right now, request a trigger, say they won't do anything, but then lie, and put you in the pen for 10? LOL.
That's why I always say it's always best to go to a lawyer. Um, I know a lot of people don't have lawyers. I got a couple, but that's because I need to be protected because I piss off a lot of people. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's always best to hand it in through a lawyer or have a lawyer hold it for you if you want to sue.
And to have a lawyer hold it for you, it's usually pretty expensive.
Yeah, because they have to file some court stuff saying, "Hey, I'm going to hold it for blah blah blah." In that way, you can request that the ATF hold it until your case is determined. And I would definitely do that through a lawyer because the first thing they're going to say is, "Okay, then they're going to destroy it." But if you do it through a lawyer, they know they're going to get their asses sued. Yeah, if that happens.
The other thing I'll say is that again, not giving advice, just kind of sharing an observation, is that in the past when things like this had happened, first let me say I don't believe that the ATF right now is going to go door to door looking at records saying who bought what, and
They
at the
will,
same
though,
time,
eventually.
eventually they will. If they did right now, if you get a knock on the door, well, what I'd say is if I got a knock on the door, I would inform and either one, not say a goddamn thing, ask if I'm being arrested or if I'm being detained, and if the answer to those two questions is no, turn around and close the door, and say any other further questions would need to be answered by my attorney. Or what a lot of people have done in the past is told the individual stopping by their home that they did purchase said trigger on said date with said credit card from
I would
said
say,
site on said. I'm just saying what some people have said.
yeah, those people you should never take advice from.
And I'm good thing I'm not giving advice.
Yeah,
And then
I'm just saying.
what they had said is they had since destroyed the item,
Okay,
and that's it.
okay, yeah, that's okay. The problem with that is they can always go get a search warrant, and right now, search warrants by anyone is like 96% approval rating by the judge. 96% of the cases, the search warrant gets approved.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though. Now they come in and they find it. Now they're not only getting you for having an unregistered machine gun, but they are also going to arrest you for obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, and you're going to get a bunch of
All
other
sorts of
charges.
shit. Yeah.
And then any leniency the judge was going to give you is going to be out the window because he's like, by saying that, you had this lie ready, you knew it was a machine gun, therefore, bam.
Yeah, and I would
So,
never say lie
yeah,
to a federal agent. Like, I would never say that. That would be foolish.
don't answer any questions. Say I will not answer any questions at this time. If you would like to speak to me, please, speak to me through my attorney. And if they say, "Well, who's your attorney?" Just say like, "I will get one. Give me your card. I will have them contact you."
Yeah.
and I'm ending this conversation right now.
Yeah. And most people will not do that. Most
Like,
people will try to follow them.
you're never gonna talk your way out of getting arrested, but you will talk your way into getting arrested.
100%. That's one of the famous lines quoted by CRS. and the only reason I
told him that line a long damn time ago. Freaking
the only reason I'm saying this is if one were to say that, because I would never tell anyone to lie to a federal agent, because that would be crazy. You better make goddamn sure that it is destroyed if you were to say that, because typically their goal is to get you to lie so they can come back with a search warrant. But they can come back with a search warrant any goddamn way. Like, that's not going to stop them. So, yeah, best bet is to shut your mouth, not say a goddamn thing, and ask if you're being arrested, if you're being detained. If you are not, then introduce them to your lawyer.
Yeah. Somebody's asking if they can turn it over to an SOT. The SOT would have to probably file what is it, like a Form 2?
So if they were taking in a machine gun or an NFA item, yes, but if this is technically legally a machine gun that's post 86 taken from a civvy,
well,
it would technically be destroyed.
I was about to get to that.
Okay.
If that's the way it's supposed to work, right? It would be a Form 2.
Rich is going to drop off. He's sleepy.
All right, cool. But here's the thing, though. That SOT didn't make it. It was made illegally. A machine gun once made illegally, doesn't matter who takes possession of it. I don't think it's a machine gun, but if the ATF determines it as a machine gun, then they're going to say, hey, the machine gun was manufactured illegally. It still needs to be destroyed.
Yep. And
or
they
turned
would
in.
be forced to cut it or crush it or whatever.
Or turn it in, yeah. So
yeah. So Timothy Clausen says, the scope of the chevron deference doctrine is that when a legislative delegation to an administrative agency on a particular issue or question is not explicit but rather implicit, a court may not substitute its own interpretation of that statute for a reasonable interpretation made by the administrative agency.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. But here's another thing. The ATF's ruling, we don't believe was ambiguous. We don't believe that it was unclear. We believe it was very clear what it is and isn't a machine gun.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we're arguing in court, GOA.
I think personally, if I were to guess, and I am guessing, I have no information on this, they set a new precedent with the bump stocks, and they would be setting a new precedent with the force reset trigger. And
I think they're just going to build on I can never say that, so they're going to build on that with the force reset. If it wasn't for the bump stock ruling, the force reset wouldn't be an issue, right?
Yeah. And this is what, so what I always do is I take the word president and just replace the S with the C, precedent. But
I still can't do that. Precedent. I can't do it.
Just a little skilly-do. No, so
president. I can do it that way. That's it.
You did a great job. The thing is that this, I remember a while back in Mac with Military Arms Channel, say what you want about him. You don't care about the SVDs, whatever. I'm saying in this instance, he said that if we were to lose this, if we let this fly, if we allow this encroachment, because so many people say, well, I don't care about a bump stock, and I don't care about an actual physical bump stock either. I don't care about a rare breed, right? It is so much more than that, because first it's the bump stock, then it's the force reset trigger, then it's binary triggers, then it's Geisley's, then it's any aftermarket trigger, then it's any semi-automatic trigger, then this is how they overstep. And I bet this shit started happening prior to May of '86, when machine guns, you could no longer Form 1 machine guns, period. I bet they started slowing down the approval process. They started kicking back more forms. They started, causing issues. And this is just what they do to gain control.
Yeah. I mean, it is the fight for bump stocks is not about bump stocks. It's about a bunch of other stuff. And we've been saying that for ever since the bump stock ruling came down. People are like, why is GOA fighting so hard for bump stocks? Including a guy named Yankee Marshall who said, oh, GOAs must be in the pocket of the bump stock manufacturers. They're like, I don't think they have a lot of money, but we have never taken money from the bump stock manufacturer. But because we knew it was more than just bump stocks. It's about the rare breed trigger. It's about a lot of different things. And we knew that they were changing the definition of chevron deference to be able to, pass laws, which is basically what they're doing, is they're passing laws. And they're not calling it passing laws, but they are passing laws in the ATF. For example, the new definition for 80% and pistol braces and everything else like that.
Yeah. Let me just throw this out there too, because a lot of people are asking questions.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
B3 Outdoors is saying something that I always I've been saying for a long time, and I've said this to you multiple times. Getting rid of chevron deference would get rid of any potential pistol brace bans or 80% bans.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to win this. If we win this, no matter what they do, the whole ruling process, if we win on bump stocks, we win on the pistol braces, we win on the 80%, we win.
There's
nothing that they can
rare
do.
breed trigger too.
A rare breed trigger too, yeah. There's nothing that the ATF can do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that Biden can do. But that's why we got to win. That's why we're fighting so hard on the bump stock issue, is because of the whole thing with that.
So it seems like a lot of people are seeking guidance on if they know someone that has one, what should they do? And I know you had mentioned, some things. And again, none of this is legal advice. This is just a conversation of information we've acquired. I've seen people. Well, I'll let you go ahead and start with that, and I'll chime in.
I wouldn't do anything right now. Because you're gonna just hear about it. They're gonna start going to like Big Daddy Guns and other places like that before they come down to the individual. Because they got to track everything, right? So I would do nothing about it now. But I would start thinking about
100 of them yesterday. Like,
what I would do is start thinking about what happens when it gets to the point where they start putting out notifications. Am I going to go the route of non-compliance, or am I going to comply? And that's going to be the decision that you're going to have to make. And I can't make that decision for anyone out there. And if you're a shall not comply person, you can do it two ways. You say I shall not comply. I'm just going to wait and losing in boating accidents, or I'm going to shall not comply and be out there in the street saying I have a rare breed trigger, come and get me. And there might be two different ways that ends up for you, but you're going to have to make that decision when the time comes. No one can make that decision for you. And a lot of it goes into family issues. Like if you have a family, that might be one thing, or if you're single, that might be another thing. So you got to weigh all that yourself. Yeah. So that's my answer. I know it's a non-answer, but I don't know everyone's situation. I'm just going to give people the information that they need and let people. I'm not going to disparage anyone for going the compliance route because I understand some people have families and situations that I'm not aware of. And I respect anyone who goes the non-compliance route as well.
Well,
But
and
that's my answer.
historically, mass non-compliance, peaceful non-compliance is how things were turned around. Now, I am not saying that, every single person should, like, I'm not giving that advice at all. But
I think we missed that boat in 1986, though.
yeah, exactly. If every single person stood up
Or
and said,
1934, really.
yeah, really. And that was the era of non-compliance, peaceful non-compliance. That was also the era of, some serious murders with machine guns. But
Well, seven.
yeah,
Come
7.
on.
Well, that's just the one murder. I mean, there were other murders with
No,
machine
others,
guns.
but the whole thing that was used was St.
The St.
Valentine's Day
Valentine's Day
massacre,
shooting, yeah.
which you would think they made it sound like the St. Valentine's Day massacre. How long has anti-gunners been at it? Look how they frame that about St. Valentine's Day massacre. Blood was running in the streets. Read some of the stuff, how they use machine guns, and read some of the stuff from back in those days. If you think that these anti-gunners is a new thing, go back and read about the St. Valentine's Day massacre and how many people in papers wrote, "We need to ban these Tommy guns and everything else."
Yeah, which were completely unaffordable at the time for the average citizen. Like,
Absolutely.
and then they said, okay, you want to buy a $200 machine gun? Okay, how about this? Now you have to pay a $200 tax to get it. Ha! Which was like the cost of a Model T back then. And people actually started registering machine guns and sound suppressors.
Yeah, the NFA discriminates against the poor.
Yeah.
Like, I can afford NFA items.
Yeah.
You can afford NFA items.
I may
a lot
have
of people can't. A lot of people can't.
From a social, well, I'll let you get to your point. Sorry.
Yes, Page Seconds talking about anti-gunner say suicides with one death in a parking lot of an abandoned school is a school shooting. Not only that, but I actually looked into Giffords when they released their school shootings. One of the school shootings was a bunch of kids playing airsoft. No joke.
I believe that.
No joke.
Walter.
And somebody called the cops on people playing airsoft, so they were like, "Oh, school shooting."
Oh, I believe it, man. I've seen worse, and then you take a look at some other things that have happened. I mean, this is hundreds of years of corruption, not just for guns, right? Just in general. This is hundreds of years of corruption to get to the point that we are now. Part of it is taking away security and liberties and your natural rights. Really quickly, Walter P380, thank you for the super chat, brother. I'll say it in his voice. What is so damn confusing about shall not be infringed? And chevron deference is a load of horse pucky.
I agree with him 100%.
Had to say that in the Walter voice. Now, like John was saying, it's likely not going to be, people knocking on your door right away, right? And I jokingly said, like, unless you bought 100 of them yesterday. So use your best judgment. You make your decisions. And even though, I had shared some historical references of peaceful noncompliance, I'm not telling anybody what to do or what not to do. That decision belongs to you. And every single person has a different line, right? Every person's going to have a different line in the sand. Some may have different lines than others, and they may be, this may be the hill that they're willing to die on, but you get to make that decision. And we've been really lucky to have a lot of incredible people on here, and John Crump being one of them. And we've also had one that stands out to me was Johnny B. And of course, James Reeves and Brandon Herrera. I love y'all. But David Kopp, what's up, brother? But one that stands out to me is Johnny B. And I've brought this up several times, but it's important that you guys understand it from this perspective, okay? And again, I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just sharing information that I have heard, Okay, and it resonated with me. And Johnny B was talking about having a conversation with anti-gunners. Okay, and in the conversation with love you too, brother. In the conversation with anti-gunners, they had pulled the old standing on the bodies of children things, and they had said, how many more children are you willing to let die before you are willing to give up your guns? And his response is exactly what I would say, which is all of them. All of them, including my own. That is the truth, because the moment that firearms are abandoned by the general populace is the moment that we give up complete control. And I wouldn't stand for that. I'll get off the soapbox now.
Yeah, that is true.
What do you think of the argument CRS makes often? A 10-year sentence and $250K fine for not paying a $200 tax is unconstitutional. I agree with that.
I agree with that 100%. It's crazy that it's a tax, right? No other tax is the 200. No other $200 tax is going to put you in jail for 10 years, prison sentence, and the pounding in the ass prison, and a $250,000 fine. The ATF was never meant to be a law enforcement agency. The ATF was meant to be a tax agency.
Yeah.
The ATF formed out of the Department of Taxation, which was the forerunner of the IRS.
Yeah, they're supposed to be part of the freaking Treasury Department. Like,
correct.
This isn't what they're supposed to. It wasn't what they were created to do.
Correct. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But once again, it's the federal government. What makes sense with the federal government?
Yeah, nothing. I'll say it like this. I'll give this example, and some people gave me shit for this. Well, number one, people gave me shit because the shirt that I wore when doing that video. I want everyone to know and hear it from me first that I was wearing a shirt that had Che Guevara and socialism on the top, and they didn't see the other half. So they didn't see that it said socialism is for fags, or figs, technically. Figs. But yeah. But it was funny because
Stephen Crowder shirt.
Yeah, I bought it back when I was a normie. But the funny thing is, like, people were literally coming in, like, laying hate down, like, you're a commie, you're a communist. I was like, okay, I was like, having a blast.
I wear my Che Guevara shirt, and people are giving me shit about it, but it says douchebag on it, and they just didn't read the douchebag. It was like visible too.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are missing the whole point where it says douchebag underneath of it.
They see what they want to see.
Yeah, Che Guevara was a murderous thug who actually murdered a lot of the LGBTQ community that certain people say they protect.
Yeah, and the same.
They were Che Guevara.
Yep.
He was very homophobic.
But to just hit on this really quickly, the fact that we're saying that it is 100% unconstitutional, one, and also against all of your natural rights that are given to you by God, by your Creator, and that are supposed to be guaranteed by the Constitution. And I actually had someone in my comments say the only right that is given to you by God is life. The rest are given to you by the Constitution, which literally made me throw up in my mouth. But when we go on and we pay a $200 tax stamp, or when we, comply with their laws, rules, regulations, and restrictions, we have to understand something. And what I related it to is this: like, I dislike money. I hate money. What it's done to people, what it did to me in the past, and money is something that I've had a lot of conflict with myself. And I also need to realize the society that I live in operates exclusively off of the same money that I hate. So you have to understand, yes, it is unconstitutional to pay that $200 tax stamp. It's unconstitutional to follow these restrictions and rules and laws. And you have to make a decision and weigh out your scale of, do I choose to, break the law, or do I choose and, or abide by the law, or do I choose to break the law and get shot in the face or shoot in the face? And that decision is completely up to you guys.
Yeah, you got to remember the Constitution originally, the Bill of Rights. It originally was an acknowledgement of rights, but the people on certain sides of the issue tried to change that, right? Uh, the Bill of Rights to me is a bill of negative liberties. And that's not saying that's negative liberties for me or you. That's saying it's negative liberty for the government. It put restrictions on the government, saying these rights are natural rights given to the people by the creator. And they use the word creator because that can mean anything to anyone, right? It can mean God. It can mean Allah. It can mean Buddha. It can mean the universe or just
an
chaos.
amoeba. Yeah.
Yeah, it can mean anything. What they're trying to say is that you didn't give these people the rights. These rights are the people's by birth. These are birthrights of the people. You can't take that away. You didn't give it to them, so you cannot take that away from them. So don't you dare try to. That's what I mean when I say the Bill of Rights is a bill of negative liberties.
Hell yeah. I'm with you, brother. What else do people need to know about the RBT trigger?
That the fight is just beginning. There's going to be more stuff coming out about it every day. And right now, if you have one, I wouldn't do anything with it. I wouldn't destroy it. I wouldn't try to get rid of it unless you want to make some money, because it looks like they're going for obscene amounts.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hold on to it, and it's not time to lose them in voting accents or anything like that yet. And when it is time, it's going to be your decision to make.
Yeah. True that. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. You're welcome to stick around, or I know you got your family up there in the telly.
Yeah, I'm just sitting out in a lobby of a hotel. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. You give yourself a plug. We got a lot of new people in here. Plug yourself, your store.
Yeah.
Let them know where they can get some DLD blue chem light patches.
All right. Once again, my name is John Crump. I work for GOA, and also I'm an investigative journalist with MLN. You can go to MLN.com and find out about all that stuff over there. I have two channels on YouTube. One is John Crump News, where I break the news. And, for example, the rare breed stuff was broken over there. And I broke some more rare breed news. I'm dropping a ATF leak tomorrow on John Crump News. And I do a show on a John Crump Live. This week we don't have a show because I'm out of town. But next week, Monday, we'll be back doing shows Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Hell yeah.
And that's it. BlackSwanTactical.com. You can get it. That's my little t-shirt shop. You can get the DLB patches there. The Ever Vigilant Crumpy patches. 2 EDU collections all over there. There's some CRS stuff over there as well. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely check it out. Black Swan Tactical. And yeah, the fact that the deal, this is our first little bit of merch we've ever had for sale, like ever. And even right now, I'm getting some samples of like t-shirts and stuff that I'm ordering to get to like check them out myself. And it's kind of crazy to. We didn't initially expect to do this, but anyway, dude, I'm super grateful for you. Thank you. You're the man. If anyone has questions, check out John Crump Live, John Crump News. He's got an awesome show throughout the week and also a great resource for news and information. He is the heavyweight champion of the world for investigative journalism.
Sorry, I don't have my belt with me.
That's all right, man. Your belt your belt is like a halo around your head. You carry it with you everywhere.
Oh, can I pitch one more thing?
Hell yeah.
On September 11th, already, the Polymer 80, one of their employees, P80 Dan, his kid was diagnosed with cancer. We're going to be doing a fundraiser for his kid, and we're going to be giving away not only like a backpack body armor thing that I'm donating myself that you pull out, but we're going to be giving away Polymer 80 kits and guns and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be from 8 p.m. Eastern till midnight on September 11th. It's going to be a really good event, and you can win some. Like, we're going to be giving away literally thousands of dollars worth of stuff for just people showing up in the chat.
Awesome. And I'll be there as well.
Yeah, you'll be there. I think 280 will be there. I think Guns and Gadgets is probably going to be there. CRS is going to be there.
Shooting Gallery New England.
Shooting at Gallery New England. Rich, of course, is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Strange. A lot of people.
Nice, man. I appreciate it, dude. You rock, man.
Right.
You go enjoy spending time with your family.
All right, they're sleeping, but I'm going to go.
That's the best time.
Get some water and just hang out.
All right, brother. Be safe, man.
All right, later.
All right, peace.